Sequencing. everybody. You're all very important to this conversation. We won't be having it without you. So thank you for being here. I'd like to welcome Honorable Dr. Ahmed Rabiu, the President of EMPNEM. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for him. I said he's the president, so can the applause be a bit louder? All right, thank you very much. Also, please help me make welcome some of the members of Board of Trustees of EMPNEM. Dr. Bamidele Ayemibo is also here, member Board of Trustees. Welcome, sir. It's good to have you here with us. Also with us is Olufemi Boyede, member Board of Trustees, EMPNEM. Thank you, sir, for being here. I'd like to welcome representatives from the Nigerian Economic Stability and Transformation Program, led by their team lead, Mr. Henry Adigun. Henry Adigun, you're welcome. Where are you, sir? Oh, okay. All right. Good to have you here with us. With Henry is Glorieze Aisha Abdullahi, whom I am told will be joining us virtually, and Yetunde Adegoke. Welcome, all of you from Nest. It's good to have you with us. A round of applause for them, please, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause. All right, I'd like to appreciate, of course, all the ministries and departments and agencies of government present here, NAQS, Nigerian Customs, NQC, Nigerian Shippers Council, NAFDAC, SON, FPIS, NEPC, and all the commercial banks represented here this morning. A very big thank you to all of you. May I hear a resounding applause for all of them, please. I'd also like to appreciate and welcome Alhaji Sidi Aliyu, International Trade and Facilitation Association, Director of Export Trade Development. You're welcome. Please forgive me. If you know Titi Ojo, you know that she's been under a lot of pressure, and she's the one that wrote this thing. So I think she wrote it the way she was feeling, a bit of pressure. So I'm going to struggle. And me, I'm trying to do CC. I refuse to wear my glasses. So God help me through this. All right. Also help me make welcome Dr. Mrs. Blessing Irabosa, President, Nigerian Owit Organization of Women in International Trade. Welcome. Where are you, ma'am? Please, let's recognize you. A very warm welcome. My apologies. I'm First Vice President EMPNEM. Welcome, ma'am. It's good to have you in our midst. Also, please help me make welcome Mrs. Uduak Udoso, Head SME Desk, Standard Organization of Nigeria. Thank you very much for being here. And Mrs. Nwachuku Victoria, Department Director, Federal Produce Inspection Service. Welcome, ma'am. It's good to have you. Where are you? Okay. Thank you for being here, ma'am. And Olusegun Thomas, Head of Export First Bank of Nigeria. Welcome to you. Where are you, please? Aha, thank you. We need to know where the bankers are. Thank you for being here. Also with us is Dr. Pauline Osasuna, Deputy Director, Representative of the ESCEO, that's of the Nigerian Shippers Council, representing Dr. Pius Ukijemo Akuta, MON. Welcome, ma'am. It's good to have you with us. A round of applause for her, please, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm giving this card to also recognize Augustine C. Onyekwelu, Deputy Director, Investment Promotion and Investors Service. A very good morning to you and welcome once again. Let's get to the main reason why we are here. Thank you very much, sir, for the update. Thank you. A round of applause for him, please, ladies and gentlemen. That's not everyone we need to recognize, but that's everyone we can recognize at the moment. As we proceed, we certainly will appreciate and recognize more people. But to get right into it, help me make welcome from HSE, a brief by Harrison Eguavon. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Harrison Eguavon. Harrison dared me and just put his name Harrison and said he doesn't know if I can pronounce Eguavon, a whole me, a Nigerian like me. And I shocked him. Welcome, Mr. Eguavon.
Thank you very much. All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. You're welcome to Afrexim Bank African Trade Center. Here at the Afrexim Bank, your safety is our #1 priority. Please, in case you hear the fire alarm, do not panic. Kindly exit the hall using any of the clearly marked emergency exits near you. We equally have electric charging vehicle ports at affordable rates. In case you're interested, please kindly reach out to my team and any of the security operatives. We have trained and certified fire marshals in the building. Like I rightly said, your safety is our #1 priority. We equally have trained and certified first aiders, in case of an emergency. So if you're pressed, you need to use the restroom. Please use the door just straight down, close to the speaker by my left. You'll see the gents outside. Thank you very much. That'll be all from me. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Eguavon, for that housekeeping. So now we know where the restrooms are, where the emergency exits are. Now that we know all of that, ladies and gentlemen, for a welcome address, please help me appreciate and welcome to present to us objectives of the policy brief, EPNEN President, Honorable Dr. Ahmed Rabiu. A round of applause for him as he comes, please.
Thank you so very much. The highly distinguished and eminent gentlemen present physically here and those that have joined us online, I want to begin by keying into the duly established, or lean on the duly established protocol. Time is fast spent. We are starting more than 1.5 hours behind schedule. And so the rest of the processes, as I do my own, I will also try to abridge it. I have a 2-page document, and I will try to just say a few of the important things. And to begin with, I will ask your kindness to look at the back of the folders that have been distributed. At the back of the folders, you see the clear statements on MPNN, and begin by appreciating the role of the UK aid in helping bring MPNN to life. And in the same stretch, appreciate Mr. President's visit to the United Kingdom, particularly also that it is put in paid the most important and significant development after the advocacy, that is an MOU to bring in some resources to actually physically help improve the ease of doing business in our great country by uplifting our ports and ensuring they meet the required standard as we speak. I'm happy to see the Nigerian Customs here, well represented, and to see all SAN and the rest, NABSA and the rest organizations that are all here. As has been said, I have not done of the private sector, representatives of MSMEs, members of the media, both print and electronic, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you all, and welcome to this very important event. It is my great honor and privilege to warmly welcome all to this policy roundtable and dissemination event convened by us, the network of practicing non-oil exporters. Today's gathering is both significant and timely. It reflects our shared commitment to strengthening Nigeria's non-oil export sector and ensuring that our businesses, particularly small and medium-scale enterprises, are better positioned to compete and thrive both in the regional and the global market. This event marks the culmination of a rigorous and impactful process that began in January 2026, when MPNN commissioned the study titled Market Access Study for Nigeria's Non-Oil Export to support evidence-based policy advocacy to improve SME competitiveness under the DCTS, Development Countries Trade Scheme, and AFCFTA, Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. This study was undertaken under the Nigerian Economic Stability Transformation NEST program with the valued support of the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, of the UK aid. From inception, this study was designed to be both evidence-based, evidence-driven, and stakeholder-informed. The two have to go together. It involved extensive data gathering, in-depth analysis, and broad-based consultations with exporters, trade experts, and institutional stakeholders. The objective was clear: to generate practical insights that can inform policy, improve market access, and enhance the competitiveness of Nigerian exporters. Distinguished participants, and this is to all those of us here, recognizing the importance of inclusivity and validation, we took our preliminary findings for the study to 5 major commercial hubs in Nigeria. We were at Aba, we were at Port Harcourt, we were at Lagos, we were at Kano, and we had also been in Abuja. This validation workshop provided a platform for critical review, stakeholder engagement, and real-world insight. The feedback received was invaluable in refining the study and ensuring that its recommendations are grounded in practical realities. Find gaps is only one part of the solution. Bridging those gaps is equally critical. To this end, MPNN organized a series of 2-day virtual capacity building workshops titled Unlocking DCTS and AFCFTA Benefit Compliance and Strategies for Effective Leveraging Opportunities under Frameworks. Importantly, these engagements have also led to the development of key knowledge products, including Practical Exporters Guide, designed to support the exporting community with accessibility, actionable information. These resources are intended to serve as tools that exporters can rely on as they navigate market entry requirements, compliance standards, and preference utilization under the UK DCTS and AFCFTA. Today's policy roundtable represents the next and very crucial phase of this journey. It is at this stage that evidence meets policy. It is where insights are translated into action. And it is where stakeholders like you that will strengthen Nigeria's export ecosystem. The opportunities presented by both the UK DCTS and AFCFTA are significant. However, realizing these opportunities require more than access. It requires awareness, capacity, coordination, and deliberate policy support. It requires us to address structural barriers, streamline processes, and create an enabling environment where Nigerian exporters can compete effectively on the global stage. Partnerships, informed dialogue, and shared vision for growth. We are particularly encouraged by the presence of key stakeholders from government ministries, departments, agencies, as well as representatives of private sector and development community. We also deeply appreciate the presence of the media, both print and electronic, whose role in amplifying these conversations and shaping public discourse cannot be overstated. As we proceed with today's discussions, I encourage us all to engage openly, think boldly, and focus on practical, implementable solutions. I always say be brutal with the truth. Let us use the platform not just to discuss challenges, but to chart a clear pathway towards improved market access, better utilization of trade preferences, and enhanced competitiveness for Nigerian exporters, including women and youth-led support. We also thank all our partners, contributors, and participants who have been part of this journey from inception to this important moment. Once again, I warmly welcome you all. Been crafted as a basic thing that we should communicate, but to round it up, to say we appreciate everybody that is here, and particularly also those who have sponsored us towards coming in as MPNN and are continuing to sponsor us to ensure that we also achieve the objectives of MPNN. The trustees of MPNN and members of the EXO that have been introduced, some are online, some are physically here with us. I want to say we always, when committed, pay to serve. And we are paying to serve and will continue to do our level best. But I will want all members to appreciate this event is meant to ensure one singular objective, that the policy to be enthroned shall be evidence-based, based on our peculiarities. I always like to remind us on what happened in Malaysia when they were coming in together to retract their steps and go on a better footing. What they recognize is that you think global and then you act local. Why is Nigeria losing so much from our exportation? Not getting the best. The pride of the UK, and for Nigeria also, UK is our pride. We have a lot to do, but why are we not benefiting from those? So enthronement of this is why we are here, and ensure that whatever policy adjustments are done, they are made in a way that we can be able to really get the best in the deal, and they will be implementable, and we will also be able to get the benefits. I thank you so very much, and pray that God in His infinite mercy will grant us to celebrate that we have come in together to work for improving the economic and social well-being of our great country. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Spoken like a true president. Please, a round of applause for MPNM President Dr. Ahmadu Rabiu. Thank you very much for setting the stage for us. Like he said, and like I also said earlier, we're going to move along as quickly as we can. We have 6 goodwill messages that we will be taking. Each of those messages are going to just be 2 minutes each. 2 minutes each. For the, in no particular order, ladies and gentlemen, please help me make
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be given this opportunity to give a goodwill message for my colleagues and associates for coming up with a very interesting study on non-oil exports. I have a feeling that what we are here to discuss today will be the validation or the presentation of the report, and then let us look at it critically and see where we can chip in here and there to see how we can solve this problem that has been bedeviling our non-oil export in this country. I have been in the public sector promoting non-oil export for more than 30 years. Now, after retiring from the public sector, we are also into the dissemination of trade information towards the development of non-oil export. But if you look at our non-oil export figure, you will discover that we still have a long way to go. Initially, it was AGOA. When AGOA came, it was a sort of trade preferences that has been given to eligible countries. But for the entire period that AGOA lapses, we were not able to really capitalize and take advantage of that. Now we have APTA, and we have the UK aid coming with other preferences. Business, they did a study, so they know the nitty-gritty of what non-oil export should be. Let us get it right in this country. Thank you very much.
I say amen to getting it right. Thank you very much, Alaji, for keeping it national trade. A round of applause. And also the first vice president of MPNM. A round of applause for her as she comes.
Good morning, everyone, and standing on the existing protocol that has already been established. My name is Dr. Blessing Eraboza, President, Organization of Women in International Trade. I'm very happy to be here this morning because what we're doing this morning is just in line with what the Nigerian Export Promotion Council did about 2 weeks ago. calling up for train-the-trainers training for Nigeria and Great Britain, export handbook. And we all know that Nigeria has signed with the Great Britain for us to export on zero tariff, which we have over 3,000 products. So this export readiness will not only support exporters to understand how it will work for them and how the export corridor will be very good. So it is my great pleasure to extend warm goodwill on behalf of the Organization of Women in International Trade at this important policy roundtable and dissemination of the market access study for Nigerian non-oil export. I sincerely commend the network of practicing non-oil exporters of Nigeria for convening this timing and strategic dialogue, particularly at a time when Nigeria is repositioning its non-oil sector as a key driver of economic growth, resilience, and global competitiveness. The theme of the roundtable, Advancing SME Competitiveness, under DCTS and AFCFTA is not only relevant, but it is also urgent. Across Nigeria and the African continent, SME, especially women-led business, remain the backbone of trade and production, yet they continue to face structural barriers in accessing markets, meeting standards, and fully benefiting from trade framework, such as Developing Country Trading Scheme, which is the DCTS, and the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is the AFCFTA. This is why the market access study being disseminated today is highly significant for us as women-led businesses. It provides evidence-based insight that can help bridge the gap between policy and net about ensuring women are not left behind transition. We believe that advancing SME competitiveness must deliberately include capacity building for export readiness, access to trade information and financing, simplification of export procedure, strengthening value chain where women are active. We must move beyond policy conversation into actionable implementation that drive measurable impact at the grassroots level. I wish to appreciate the support of the UK International Development Implementing Partners for investing in this initiative partnership, which is critical in strengthening Nigerian non-oil export ecosystem and aligning with global best practice. I also want to engage in today's discussion as I encourage all stakeholders, private sector development partners and sector, and position our SME not just as participants, but as competitive players in regional and global markets. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. I saw you were trying so hard not to exceed your 2 minutes. You did, but it's okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please help me also make welcome at this point, Head of SME Desk, Standard Organization of Nigeria, Mrs. Uduak Udoso, for another 2-minute goodwill message. Please, a round of applause for her as she comes. This applause, is not applauding.
Thank you very much, Sanami. Good afternoon, distinguished partners, our distinguished colleagues, and honorable business participants in this meeting. My name is Mrs. Udwa Kudoso. I am the head Small and Medium Enterprises Desk of the Standards Organization of Nigeria. And I'm here representing the Director General and Chief Executive Standards Organization of Nigeria in the person of Dr. Ifeanyi Chukwunonso Okeke, who is passionate about MSME's growth. And he did not just send only me. In the crowd is my colleague, Mrs. Helena Shati, so you could understand we are here to support MSMEs. And you know, there is a significant opportunity for MSMEs. But let me tell you, competitiveness, when you're talking about export, depends on quality, standards compliance, and also leveraging on the digital tools that help trade move faster. It is our pleasure to join the network of practicing practicing non-oil exporters of Nigeria in this discussion so that we can move the MSMEs forward. And also to tap under the United Kingdom Developing Countries Trading Scheme, and the after. When we are discussing, you.
All right, for our next goodwill message, please help me make welcome Mrs. Uwachuku Victoria, Deputy Director of Federal Produce Inspection Service. A round of applause for Mrs. Victoria Uwachuku as she comes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are very, very happy in being a member and being involved in this great occasion. I am Mrs. Nwachuku Victoria, the director, the Deputy Director of Federal Produce Inspection Service. And I'm standing here on behalf of my director and our peers. On Federal Produce Inspection Service, we have a department, and we are working under FMITI. That's Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment. I'm very happy that we are having this occasion today. And it pleases me that we have many men and women involved in this trade facilitation. I surely recommend and comment so much that the people organizing this thing know the in-depth of problem that is having in Nigeria as far as non-oil export is concerned. Thank God Nigeria is moving fast in recognizing the value of non-oil export. We can see the problem that was happening before in oil sector, and now we are seeing wars and whatever that has entered. But because some countries are so fast in noticing the need to engage in non-oil export, today they are moving forward. And that is why we are doing this. So I want to use this cross any line without following the due process. I, from Federal Produce Inspection Service, as the foremost quality regulator, what are we saying? They should also come together as association. They should come together for information. The regulatory bodies are not here to disturb, but we are here to enlighten more of you on the need to follow standard in export.
As she's looking at me, the organizer has paid me to be here. So I'm not the organizers. But yes, the organizers are here and they can hear you and they thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 2 more goodwill messages to go, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of our conversation, of our roundtable today. Help me make welcome Head of Export First Bank, Olusegun Thomas, for another 2 minutes goodwill message. Is he here? Mr. Thomas? Okay. He's on his way all the way from the back. All right, please, one more time, a round of applause for Olusegun Thomas, Head of Export, First Bank of Nigeria. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, exporters here present, I say a very good morning to everyone. We bring greetings from your bank, First Bank of Nigeria. Of course, it's a bank that really needs no introduction, but I'm just here for a very short goodwill message to say, and more or less into hand-holding exporters from beginning to the end. There are potential disruptions in value chain, need for us to ensure that standardization is a thing that works well for our exporters. And I mean, the need for us to do things right especially in terms of packaging, in terms of value addition, in terms of training, in terms of capacity building, end to end. Those are some of the things. Program like this, honestly, there can't be a better time than this to put up a program of this great magnitude. But we are here to, also add our own quota to this epoch event to ensure that export succeeds in our country. In conclusion, I just want to say that in this room, I believe that we can deliver what of the economy structures that are formed within any geography. So it is a very important sector, and we are part of it. And I'm sure that when we go into the conversations, we'll speak more and get to know ourselves.
But when exporters, really need, those loan facilities or those assistance from the commercial banks, that they're actually truly available. I also know that Zenith Bank is in the room this morning. I'm not sure how many commercial banks, but a round of applause also for Zenith Bank of Nigeria. They're also here. Please put your hands together for them. All right, help me make welcome Dr. Pauline Osasona, Deputy Director, Representative of the ESCEO, Nigerian Shippers Council. She's representing Dr. Pius Ukuyema Akuta, MON. Please a round of applause for her, ladies and gentlemen, as she makes her way up stage. Thank you, Ma, for keeping it 2 minutes.
Good morning, distinguished guests, policymakers, and fellow stakeholders and government agencies here present. I just want to make a correction. My name is Dr. Pauline Osasona. I'm representing the ESCEO, whose name is Dr. Pius Ukuyema Akuta Mon. Thank you very much. We're very to be in a high-level stakeholders engagement where we invited all the stakeholders and every agency that participates in exporting and importing in Nigeria. And we themed that from ports to prosperity. Now you can see that Nigeria is a very regulators of the ports. And we want to use this opportunity, to inform us. A lot of things happen at the ports, and we need to be very educated about the happenings at the ports and the way we can move forward. We lose a lot of money at the ports, so much money. In fact, to the tune of trillions. And we need to get this thing right. Now, I'm so happy, and Nigerian Shippers Council, we're so happy to be in this forum, so that we can have these conversations, to better position Nigeria, to be competitive in the things that we do at the ports. So, and we believe that as we go on, with the conversations that we're going to have, we're going to be lending our voice to a lot of things. I prepared something, but I'm going off what I've prepared because I see that there are a lot of things for us to discuss here. And I'm believing that as we get into the conversation, we will not hold back. And I'm sure that we will also carry your messages and your concerns to our ears so that we can better address the issues of our nation. Togo, even Ghana, that, they don't have as much as we have, but their ports are doing extremely well, and we are lagging behind. So, using this opportunity, I'm sure they are looking. Okay, using this opportunity, I want to say that we're welcome to this conversation, and we believe that we're going to take your messages, your concerns back to Shippers Council, and then we're going to make sure that we act on it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make that applause louder for Dr. Pauline Osasona. And I'll tell you why. I could feel the pain in her voice as she laments how much we lose for a country so focused on, on moving away from oil export to non-oil export, to doing business, to creating opportunities, to creating more, revenue generation in different sectors. Yet, in the little that we're doing, we're losing so much at the ports. I would really love for her to have a conversation sometime. Maybe, I hope she's on one of the panels so that she can tell us the statistics of how much we really are losing, at the ports and why, so that those gaps can be easily mitigated. So that's all the goodwill messages we have. May I please ask that you please put your hands together for all the bringers of goodwill messages this morning. We're going to move quickly to our keynote address. Our keynote address is going to be presented by the team lead, Nigerian Economic Stability and Transformation Program. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me make welcome Mr. Femi Adigun as he comes. Mr. Henry Adigun. Hey, where did I get Femi from? Please, ladies and gentlemen, so that if you can forgive me quickly, Henry Adigun, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the team lead of Nest. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I know we haven't been served tea, and I know a lot of us are very hungry and tired, and that's why we're clapping is very, very weak. I told Titi that, you serve tea first so that people can clap properly. When people have just come out of a fasting and then you are saying then you should be clapping without food, it's very hard and there's still lunch available. So please, I'll make it long so that we can go to tea break on time. Thank you all for coming, and I stand on existing protocols, as we say in Nigeria. Nest is funded by the UK government. It's a program looking at economic stability and transformation in Nigeria. All of you were given the pictures and the news about the president's visit to UK. You also heard that we are the second biggest trading partner of the UK. You also heard that there's 8.1 billion pounds of trading between Nigeria and UK. Now, maybe what you didn't hear was the gap between Nigeria and UK, a gap of 3.6 billion pounds. That's the part where Nigeria is not fulfilling. And that's the part where the SMEs should fill. And that's the part where exports should fill. On my own side business, I'm also an exporter. I export out of Nigeria to Mexico, to Europe, and other things. So I'm well aware of the constraints we all face, and our challenge on standardization, our challenges on access, our challenges from the regulator, our challenges from ports and other things. And I know it's very complicated and complex. But at the heart of it is three simple things. Competitiveness is not driven by laws. Competitiveness is driven by systems. Everybody plays a role. You see, when the customs stop thinking of themselves as tax collectors, but as business enablers, the whole thing will change. When they start looking at their revenue targets and looking at how do we aid business, how do we be an enabler of those trying to get markets out of the good, everything changes. But when we stand at the point of, I'm a policeman, then everything changes again. And as somebody says all the time, everything is connected to everything. Also, again, we have people in the business who haven't done any innovation, any standardization, have not added any value to the market they're exporting to. They bring the same goods in the same way they've been trying to do it over years, and the markets have moved on. And that means internally, we must have internal competitiveness amongst us. China, that we use as an example, where we all go to buy things from, that say the cheapest machinery, that we must thank. If not for China, many of us won't be able to build houses anymore. You buy their tiles, you buy all their equipment. There's something they did. Before they opened up to the world, in their years of closure, they enabled competitiveness within China. So they got down competitiveness to the point where, amongst themselves, it was the last mile finishing. And therefore, it made it very hard for the world to compete with them. And a lot of people worked together because everybody was singing from the same hymn sheet. It wasn't, hey, I'm here to tax you, to cut revenue. Hey, I'm here, I'm the regulator on value addition and processing. Hey, I'm here, no. Everybody came to the perspective of saying, how do I make it easier? How do I find information for you? How do I segregate complexity? How do I give you simple terms? How do I ensure that I don't run around and around with 25 agencies to carry Gary from Nigeria to UK? It's not a lie that a lot of yam eaten in the UK is from Nigeria. We carry the yam from Niger State, we take it to Ghana. He goes to Ghana and says, Ghana yam. Why? Why does that happen? It's the same problems we all face, all of us. And you know one thing we all complain about? We have no jobs. We can't reduce poverty if we can't create jobs. Every country in the world that has grown on the strength of SMEs. All is linked together. While we're looking at the high-level policies of economic planning, we're looking at the other base levels of ensure high-level policies of economic planning. We're looking at the other base levels of ensure inclusion. We're looking out for women. Everybody knows you empower a woman, you empower a generation. It's not a lie. Women are more likely to sell their wrappers to sell their children to school than men who will sell their wrappers to buy a car. And that's why women are the key of what we need to do. And it's a simple thing, but the mindset must change. The conventions we have today must change from regulation to facilitating. You know, there's a mindset about it when you're an encourager. And that way you're saying, I'm a gatekeeper. I'm going to stop there because we need tea. I'm looking forward to very deep conversations myself. I need tea too. Let me be honest. My energy is very low. You can see my tummy is very flat now. It wasn't like that a month ago. So we will have conversations that are very deep. I hope you guys all speak properly. My teams are around here. We support, we don't support individuals. We support agencies like MPNN, who we gave a grant to do the study. We hope to work with other agencies of government that are here as well. So if you want to reach out to us, we're here. Thank you very much.
Mr. Adigun will not let this go. He called me Madam Femi. Thank you very much, Mr. Henry Adigun. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for him. And thank you so much for that charge. I must say that that was really apt. You know, what I'm taking away really is the importance or the fact that, you know, our regulatory agencies need to understand that they have to move from regulation to facilitation and become partners with Nigerian exporters and know that it is, you know, all hands on deck. It's not us versus them, but it is one body working for the same economic goal. So thank you very much, Mr. Henry Adigun. Unfortunately, we will not be going for tea break just yet, at least not according to my... I promise you, we can find a way to get you tea, Mr. Henry. We need to pull that energy up. We'll get you tea. If I have to serve it myself, I will. But let's please welcome Executive Director, Africa International Trade and Commerce Research for a presentation of the study, Market Study for Nigerian Non-Export, Non-Oil Sector, Sand Mbakalu. A round of applause for him as he comes. After this, we're open to questions, observations from the floor. And then we will unveil the market access report, and then we will have tea. Please help me make welcome Mr. Sand Mbakalu.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Do I sit or do I... Okay, yeah, so... please, you bear with me, so I'll give the media team the presentation. So while we wait for the media team to project the presentation, I'll tell us something about the study, general overview. Actually, the study, to the best of my knowledge, I would consider it to be one of the studies that have ever been done, especially when it comes to the UK DCTS. Because it was shocking that after UK DTS was launched in 2023, and up to this moment, very few non-oil exporters are aware of it. When we started, the question is, are we going to see Nigerians in mass benefiting from this? So now the study is, the presentation is up, so I would just, so it's market access study for Nigerian non-oil export sector, driving SME competitiveness under UK DCTS and AFCFTA. My name is Sanem Bakalo. I'm the Executive Director of Africa International Trade and Commerce Research. We're a consulting firm with a decade experience in this industry, researching trade, supporting policies, advocacy, and building capacity in this area. So the study itself, do I have a pointer? So I control it from here. Can I have a pointer, please? Is there none? So just go with me if you don't have a pointer. So as has been rightly pointed out, this study was commissioned by the UK government, FCDO, under the Nigerian Economic Stability and Transformation Program. And the scope is really to get 15 minutes. 15 minutes can't do it, madam, because this is the base of our conversation today. Okay, so let's go. So the scope is that the non-oil exports are mostly SME. These are the focus. But during the course of the study, we realized that we talk about SMEs, but we leave out those that employ 100, 200, and they are in Nigeria. They are making great waves. So maybe in the near future, we should be able to consider them as well because they also have needs. So the frame is about having evidence from non-oil exporters on UK DCTS, which of course was launched in 2023, and AFCFTA. This coverage that we covered here, I'll speak more to that, is Aba, Port Harcourt, Lagos, and Abuja. Next slide, please. The objective is, one, how do we strengthen market access and export supply response capacity of Nigerian non-oil exporters by guaranteeing that what they go through is understood. So first, market access barriers, generate evidence in producers, exporters driven data that inform target policy dialogue. See, emblem basic mandate is for advocacy. That is fundamental. And as well as how do you strengthen this advocacy through evidence? And finally, we need to improve our utilization of preferential agreements. We've signed several of them, but this several is not translating to reality, it's not translating to money. My brother, Mr. Henry, did mention that we talk about the $8 billion pounds market relationship. But we're not talking about the part that Nigeria is not meeting. We're not meeting our own obligations. And in this study, we realize that there is a missing middle. There's a missing middle that we can talk about SMEs are the employers, but who are the SMEs? How are they coping? How are they dealing with pressure? How are they resilient? How are they dealing with the truck breaking down? How are they dealing with the trade facilitation component of things, which is about unofficial payment, because trade facilitation in Nigerian context is sometimes corruption. How are they dealing with it where they cannot predict and account for this? So the objective is to get this response from the exporters. Next slide, please. So the methodology, very rigorous methodology. So we had the desk review, followed by hearing from the exporters through the quantitative survey, which is exporter survey. Then we did the qualitative, which is about speaking to the exporters, women, the big ones, and as well as even the small ones, and individuals that are doing informal exports. Then after the entire finding, triangulating everything, we went back to validation. That is where Aba came in. That is where Port Harcourt came in. That is where Kano came in. That is where Abuja came in. So we went back to say, okay, we have found this, validate this. We spoke to you, a lot of you, but now tell us, does this speak to your reality? Next slide, please. So the landscape is that under the desk review, we did the NDP 2021 to 2025, which is non-export expansion as a core route to diversification and competitiveness. We reviewed it. We currently have a trade policy as a country. Are we checking that the trade policy is being implemented? And how is it being implemented? Where are the challenges? What do we need to do? So use trade policy in terms of beyond, before and beyond the border. We did that. AFCFTA strategy in 2021 was when AFCFTA became operational. As I've said, UKDTAS started in 2023, 2021, 2023. How has this translated to our economic development? And we also reviewed the Zero Oil Plan that targeted 22 priority products. The aim is to generate 30 billion non-oil FS. And are we all in this room? Have we made even a quarter of this? And we know when His Excellency Olusegun Awolowo, of blessed memory, promoted this with all his strength, with everything that NEPC had, but this day, are we checking if we're implementing this? And we also reviewed the Export Incentive Act, which is a legal accord for non-oil export promoting via ESG. We do know what the issue is with the big players, payment issue, not remitting when an agreement has been signed. CBN, all this we reviewed. Next slide, please. Now, non-oil exports, let me take us back to the previous slide, said we're going to achieve 30 billion FS. We are now celebrating, next slide please, we are celebrating 6.1 billion mark. Just one aspect, say we're going to, that was the target. But where is the issue? What is the issue? The issues are enormous. But currently, Nigeria exports to Netherlands, generally, UK, India, US, China, and others. The truth is that we're not doing well. Even though the record says that it's 6.1 billion, we can do more because we have the capacity. And the reason why we need to do more, or we're not doing more, if I must use that word, we're not doing more, is because most of the exports, 78% are still agro-processed, not really a lot of value. That's why when a friend, I think he's in the room, Salad Agriculture, set up his factory, ultramodern factory in Niger State to process chair, to add value to chair, and it was commendable. And you don't want to know how much investment infrastructure he put in to ensure that that's, even currently, the security that he has to put in place to ensure it keeps up to speed. It's operational. we're not still doing well. While we celebrate little win, we can do more. That is what this study is trying to bring up. The non-oil export performance overview from literature, things that have been done before now, is saying 6.1. I think as of last week, it went up a little. Next slide, please. However, the demographic of people we spoke to, 62%, 67% are male that fill this form, that participate in this survey. Majority of the institutions we spoke to are limited liability. But there's something interesting about this. It can be deceptive when you look at 64%, 67% as male. You say it's male dominated. Actually, most non-oil export businesses are female dominated. Majority, 62%, 60% are owned by women. And as research, you can look at the number and say, yeah, women are the ones, but these women remain in the micro level. But when you start going up the ladder, or who does the major business in exports, is male. However, who does the operation day to day, most of the agents are male. Because when we send this up, 0.8 is employs 1 to 9 people. And then new exporters, 29%. Why is it that every time you come, government have to deal with custom should not be about, did you comply? Work with Export Connection. I know the effort the UK government put. Work with Export Connection. I know the effort the UK government put in export. Currently, even now, they're trying to expand into the Nigerian market and create market access on technology exports. And we did a study. We realized what they are doing. How come the UK government is doing this for us? How? Why? Are they Father Christmas? No. They are not. So we have to, even why the government, Nigerian government have to do more. That is what we just want to say. So next slide, please. The study realized, as you can see, 78%. 78% agro. That is why we are still within that. That's why we cannot scale. That's why most of the business cannot scale. And we can change this. Cosmetic and wellness. Our share has to be packaged in the way whereby when we export, we know we're exporting value and creating jobs here. We can't continue just exporting split cashew. We can't, if we want to scale, we can't continue doing that. Split cashew. I remember Emefiele wanted to stop that. They said, no, it's value added. You can't stop it. Because they don't have any other option to be able to scale. They can't invest. First Bank is here. They can't really support them in long-term investment. As a matter of fact, most banks will just say export. They want to see import. And what do you import? Finished product. That is what they support. And I say this because bankers are here. We must start deliberately ensuring that our project, our financing, identify and support value addition. Value addition, and it has to be considered. It's not a one-off funding that they will need. So Nigerian non-oil exports remains heavily concentrated in primary agricultural commodity with limited processing of value addition. Shea butter, sesame seed, cashew, ginger, cocoa, spice dominate. This spice is most time informal export because they export in small packs. Structural investment in agricultural process is critical to move up the value chain. It is critical. And we must see it at that. Textile, about fashion hub has to have a common facility that is massive, just like this building. You can't have common facility of 2 printers. No, you cannot have that if you want to scale. Next slide, please. We speak numbers because numbers cannot really lie. This is what it is. 68% record just 1%. I told us, one shipment in the last 24 months. Very few businesses do 50 containers, 20 containers. Mr. Kasim. So 68% export just one. We can't mark that 30 billion mark. Then 20% attempted but failed. Why did they fail? You will see the report. It's detailed why they failed. And I will encourage us after this, when you launch this report, we take time to read. That report is rich and can be implemented. We did not just produce reports for report's sake, academic. This is a practical, hands-on, with steps on how to address these issues. 53% rely on foreign buyers for entry market. There is no structural way to get into the overseas market. My brother has someone that wants to buy something. That is what majority says. 53% rely on foreign buyers. There is no structural way where they export. And 9% use e-commerce. You know what the capacity is. So, if you look at it, if you look at the map, the chart, you realize that just 9% does 20 to 30 shipments in the last 24 months. Just 7% does 31 to 40 shipments. Most exporters operate opportunistically, not systematically. Exports are triggered when conditions are favorable, not through sustained buyers relationship. Only 35% use distribution agent, trade fairs dominates market. Maybe NPC, the system we are using is good because most of them said because NPC took us to one trade fair. NPC supported us one. So we have to commend you, but you have to continue doing it. You have to move from just taking them to trade fair, supporting them to have a pipeline. There should be a pipeline for them to access foreign market. So the missing link, madam, come down. The missing link. So next slide, please. But don't worry. I know. The report is there. So 63% micro small. That is where you say women are majority in the non-export. They fall between. They're the ones that carries maybe when you go to the airport, you see them stack up small pack because they're going to sell. They return back. They go back. They sell. You can't scale. So you can imagine for the last 24 months, no Nigerian exporter, if maybe we didn't capture them, did $50,000 to $250,000. No firm. And we spoke to a lot of them. None did. The missing middle is something that we have to look at. The root cause is that high logistic costs, weak trade finance system, fragmented compliance, and poor policy implementation. Zero oil, who is following it up? No metrics to measure that. Implication is that SMEs cannot finance the jump from small trial shipment to sustained large-scale contract. Opportunity. Target scale-up intervention can unlock the the missing middle and transform Nigerian export structure. We can't do it. This is the reality of Nigeria. Current reality of Nigerian non-oil export. It is a sober reflection, I must say, but it also presents to us an opportunity we can explore and benefit from. So, as we said, UKTI, very few people know about it. UKDCTS, very few people know about it. And we gave an overview about that. Bear in mind that this is a 600 billion market. It's a high value. But the rules of origin component, next slide, please. Utilization, 2023 till now, only 10% said they've used it. Majority don't even know what it is about. So beyond just the 3 days advocacy that Emblem did on how to export, we have to do more and expand. It has to be more of like a curriculum where we get exporters because they need to understand the process from A to Z. So people have heard about it. And beyond that, we also have to make noise about it. Noise that I mean is that more media outreach and as well as social media engagement and how to go about it. The professional agreements for DCTS is different from every other one. So, for example, as I said, rules of origin, a critical knowledge gap. What is even rules? If I open up the discussion in this room now, ask what is rules of origin, what do you understand? It would collaborate what we found because the validation also collaborated it. Very few people know about this stuff. 70% of all exporters, non-oil exporters, are aware. Very, very poor number. We have to change it, and we can change it. So the implication is that SME rationally avoid preferences due to compliance risk. They don't want to attempt it because we don't know if we'll comply, so they don't want to attempt to do it. The answer is not better tariff terms. Take time out to read it. We have AFCFTA 2021 to date. Next slide. You realize that AFCFTA, very few people they've heard about it, majority have heard about it, but the practical implementation, because for me, I felt they should give me about 2 hours because we need to speak to us. Oh, okay, fine, because these are some of the things that we are passionate about. So collaboration is key. Reform is necessary. Reform, practicalization of risk reform is necessary. Equip exporters with we need practical training, and we have to have a metrics to measure this. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And they didn't allow me to finish the slide, but we'll definitely share the presentation with everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for managing the time with us. Thank you very much. I'm sure everyone can see the value in the presentation. And certainly, copies of the presentation will be available so that we all have time to digest, to analyze, and to just go over them and make use of the information and the statistics available. So I don't know, but we're supposed to at this point check if there are any questions. Any questions from the floor about the presentation by Mr. Sand Mbakalu? If we don't have any question, we will be going to the unveiling of the market, the unveiling of the market access report. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the woman who has been behind the scene, just, doing so much, who has put a lot of work behind what you see today. Ladies and gentlemen, help me make welcome the executive secretary, I beg your pardon, the executive secretary of EMPNEM, Network of Practicing Non-Oil Exporters of Nigeria. Please, I say she's the one that brought us all together. Make that applause louder as she unveils. She's worked very hard, very, very hard. EPNEM has worked very hard at this, and so she'll be unveiling. It's over to you, Mrs. Titi Ojo.
Good afternoon. I think we're now at the other side of media. We're almost there. All right, so this is the unveiling. I'm not standing behind here because you might not see my face if I'm there. I kind of think you won't. Can you see me? Oh my God, the people that designed this thing did not have people like me in mind. Yes, they are discriminatory. Who are they? All right, so we are unveiling this report. Sand has done really good job at presenting what's inside. And of course, there's a full report. When you came in, you had a folder, right? You picked it up there outside. That is where we have the policy brief, and that's just a brief around 8 pages schematics, which even is just a jot of what you have in the main thing. This is just a few copies as well, but this is just for the unveiling. We're going to be putting up the report when it gets full approval from NEST and the FCDO, and it will be made public. But today we are unveiling this, and we're going to be taking some pictures with it so that it goes in record that this report is out, and that we all sat down here today to go through the report with us and to also see how this report had been validated. One thing I'm so happy about and I'm so proud of is that when this study project, I call it a project because it has a timeline, right? When it started, it was looking like, wow. But we're here today, and it's really worth every dime and every bit that's been spent there. So I don't know where, Mr. President, This is not the time for Mr. President to be out of this room. I'll be calling up some people this morning. You know when you want to open something like a new bride? I hope it's what it is. It's what's under it. Where's Mr. President? Mr. Adigun, please come forward, please. Yes, Mr. Adigun.
I don't think we have enough space up here, so if I can have some gentlemen help us bring this down so that the unveiling can be done on the floor. If we can have some gentlemen please help us. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Adigun is already carrying the table. Oh my God. This is good. This is good. I guessed as much when I saw people putting this table on the stage. I was like, okay, now we are back on the floor. All right, cameramen, I hope we're all set. It's a matter of on your mark set, go right now. Mr. Adigun, where is the president? Emperor, where are we, sir? Okay. Yes, I'm gonna call her. She's on my. I can't miss Gloria on this list. So Gloria Eze, come forward. Come forward. Where's my president? And we're going to have every one of you hold this book and we take a picture. By that time, I think we'll move this out so it doesn't cover our faces. Like, Glory Eze, please come forward. We have Mr. Femi Boyede. Where is Mr. Femi Boyede? Honorable Rabiu is not here, but he will be coming inside quickly. Mrs. Blessing Irapo Oza. Yes, first Vice President of MPNEN. Dr. Bamdela Emibo, please come forward. So when we started this study, we had a small group. They were the ones that were the data people, the research people, and there's nobody else to have led that team but Sandumba, this man. Hey, just rise. A researcher to the core. Okay. Yes. All right. Also, we have NEBZA, the representative of NEBZA, please. Representative of NEBZA, please come forward. The representative of NEPC, that's Mr. Peter Njoku. Representative of SON, Mama, yes, SON, please come forward. Sorry, the list, I had to drop it, but please bear with me. The representative of the NQC, that's Mr. Fashino. Please, can I have you here? Representative of NAQS, we need somebody here, please. Nigeria Shippers Council, that's Dr. Pauline, please come forward. Okay, and then representative of the Nigerian Customs Service. We have a rep from the FMITI stroke Federal Produce Inspection Service, who is representing, let's come forward. We want the representative of ITFA, International Trade Facilitation Association, please come forward, join us. A representative of Nasima. Is Nasima here? Nasima. All right. So I'm going to open this. And please. Yes, what do you, okay, so let's do this. You have to see your entire body to know that you showed up here today. All right. Yes, they're here. Where are we at some point? Please, if you can join us. Mr. President has arrived. Here. Because he's looking as if he's not up to 20. Mr. Do we have a... let's can we arrange us properly so that we all... Can we spread out?
The panel discussion will go on for 45 minutes with an extra will be on trade facilitation and regulatory reform for non-oil export growth. So just to let those who will be on the panel conversation know that we don't have that much time, so it will do us a lot of good if we start quickly and go straight to the point. But a few more minutes to round up because I'm sure there will be questions in between those. Sessions, and with our media team that are here. I believe AIT is here. All the media stations that are here, Mr. Dr. Rabiu, Mr. Femi Boyede, Mr. Sand Mbakalu, This is Lanre Nwankwo, I believe, and of course, Dayton Abi Olaniyon. Your opinion is needed on the red carpet for a media interview. We will have tea break now. Looks like nobody wants to go for tea break. It's tea break. Thank you. All right, tea break. Thank you. All right, please, it's time for tea break. We can go table by table if we choose. It's time for tea break. We can go table by table if we choose. Tea break is one for governments and one. Focused on trade facilitation and regulatory reform of Africa Continental Free Trade Area. That's after Exchange Department, NEXIM, Nigerian Customs Service. This particular session is going to be moderated. Dr. Alaba is ready. The conversation is about to begin. So I will invite Dr. Alaba to please come up and help me make welcome Dr. Olumuyiwa Alaba. Please, up the stage, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for attending this event. Please, I want to invite the following people to the, I can't call it high table, let me call it round table. Mr. Peter Njoko, DD Market Access Department, NEPC. Please, can you make your way to the front? Thank you. Please, let's clap for him. We're still expecting our panelists from the Presidential Enabling Business Council. They are still on their way, I'm told. From Nigerian Shippers Council, we have Dr. Pauline Osasona, DD, Nigerian Shippers Council. Please, you are welcome, ma'am. From the Nigerian Customs Service, we have Assistant Comptroller Ramat Lawal. Please. Nexim Bank, we're still expecting. From the Standards Organization of Nigeria, may I invite the head of SME desk, Mrs. Idua Udoza. You're welcome, please. And from the National Quality Council, and actually they are the anchor creation for, quality assurance. They are the one that's, anchor interdepartmental connection on conformity assessment. I want to invite Mr. Riliwan Fashina. He's the Chief of Staff for the NQC. Thank you so much. Those are a little, because I will want to rock the table. And I was discussing with some of my colleagues earlier on that I see we are not facilitating trade. I showed Titi and Dr. Ayemi Boy data on what it costs for a standard ship to dwell in a proper port. And I compared that to Tema. I compared that to Cotonou Port. I compared that to Togo Port. In the case of Nigeria, a standard ship will need to pay over $200,000. And in comparison to Cotonou, Tema, and Togo ports, Tema ports, Cotonou ports, and Lomé ports, they pay less than $30,000 to dwell. And I wonder to myself, with all the ease of doing business, business environment reform, we're implementing trade facilitation agreements. With all of this, we still see that there is a set stage for each sector. And I will start from the National Quality Council, because they are the umbrella for quality. My first question is, Nigeria already has undertaken major trade facilitation and market access reform under WTO. When Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was the acting president, he made a quick intervention of Executive Order 1, which is now Business Facilitation Act. We have AFCFTA, we have Coordinations Office, the Design Implementation Framework, and it's geared towards competitiveness. Yet, the study that was just presented, it still said that 62% of the problem that is confronted by the exporters are domestic, which means the others are not the market access issues abroad. They are just here. So my question is, why have all these reforms translate to stronger exporters utilization? And where do you see the biggest implementation gap for all of this reform? And what should we do? I will start from Mr. Additional from the National Quality Council. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Not that we do not make efforts to execute. What we lack is openness, honesty, and transparency are the things that the market out there is looking for. Except we're able to develop a culture of openness, of transparency, and honesty in the implementation of our reforms, we will continue to have challenges. Now, let me bring it home. Sometime in 2021, the federal government approved a national quality policy. That policy took several years to be put together. Virtually every institution in the public sector, representatives of the private sector, Masima, MAN, all the small-scale businesses were part of it. And the government approved the policy for implementation. If we implement that policy transparently, openly, and with honesty, the environment, those are questions for all of us to answer. So for me, if we, as public sector, if we go back to some of the conversations we had in the morning about, rather than seeing ourselves just as regulators, we should see ourselves as business facilitators. I think that is key to what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Realization of preferences.
Speaker said to bring in reform. Another thing is to implement it. Products to sustain our economy. So we try to make sure that such loopholes are removed along the line of exporters. So what we are saying is that other agencies should join hands with an EPC and make sure.
Let me add something I want that you are doing, that you want other agencies to join.
Do that, we need to train them, build their capacity, give them all the relevant information, because it's a competitive market. If we in Nigeria don't do what we are supposed to do, other countries will go on and do this and then use us as a dumping ground. So that is one area. We need to train these exporters, build their capacity, and make available, okay, the environment for them to operate. Like if we do what we are supposed to do, the custom is not doing their own, the exporters will definitely not meet up to compete in this aftermarket. So that is what that one is important. Capacity building, okay? And then funding too. You know, our SMEs cannot have the fund to do business. So that is where we need the banks and all other agencies that are in the funding area. They need to be funded. Because fund is one of the challenges the MSMEs complain to us. So that one is very, very important too. And another thing is the regulations. Okay, NAFDAC, SON, those ones are in charge of regulation, making sure that these exporters, the products meet the quality. Quality and standard is of essence. So these are the basic things we need to do as Nigeria so that our exporters will be able to compete favorably in the international market. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me go to Nigeria Shippers Council. I know you were listening to the statistical rollout about a ship that is dwelling in Nigeria, birthing in Nigeria for more than $200,000, and compared to neighboring ports, less than $30,000. I don't see how, exporters in Nigeria will be able to compete, because those costs would definitely be, transferred or transferred to the exporter or the users of ports. So we have done so much reform. We start from when we had port congestion, we have Trade Facilitation Task Force. It's now National Committee on Trade Facilitation, and to ensure that trade are facilitated. But despite that, we still have problem in our ports. What do you think we should be doing?
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. It's a fact that at our ports, we haven't been doing what we're supposed to do. Okay? And like he rightly said, every year we are losing almost about 3 trillion naira from our ports. And this is because of diversion of containers that are meant to come into Nigeria, and they are not coming into Nigeria. And they are going to places like Togo. They are going to places like Benin. They are going to places like Ghana, like he mentioned, because it's cheaper. We're losing a lot. Okay, what he said now is right, is correct. I happen to is lack of automation. Till now, we have not been able to implement single window. As I'm talking now, they're still having talks and talks and talks. I mean, a lot of talks. I would prefer that we start walking the walk. You understand? So a lot of things are happening, and then we're being left behind. If you are in this industry or from this other side where I am, you will pity Nigeria. Okay, we have bogus things. We say bogus things, but then we don't implement them properly. And then others will steal our ideas. Ghana is stealing our ideas, and they're doing very well.
So how should we tackle this?
Okay, so, well, the way we have to tackle it is that we have to put our all hands on deck. Number one, our ports, we have poor port infrastructure. We should look at that. I had a study that I looked up.
746 million pounds is coming for that.
I hope so. I really hope so. I happened to be in Apapa for a while, and I tell you that those are our ports. Apapa port was, was established 100 years ago our time. So poor ports infrastructure, lack of automation, and then insufficient clearance system. And then there is double charges that is going on at the ports. Now, for multiple, in fact, it's multiple. Now, somebody is bringing in a container, and we'll have to pay a lot of people. Somebody said on
Customs service. 192, I understand you have Odogu now, you know, which should actually make the business environment easier, which should make
the coordinator said, we service providers from foreign countries to come and operate it here for us in 4 hours. And again, we have other reforms that we have in Nigerian Customs Service which are being implemented already. Like the time release studies, we have the advanced ruling, we have the AEO, we have the national single window, which is domiciled at the FIRS. The national single window is the one shop where the exporters, the other regulatory agencies, all stakeholders involved in export and businesses can lodge in their document, where I don't have to, okay, as an exporter, you just lodge in your document. You don't have to go to SON. You don't have to run to NAFDAC. You don't have to. We can all see your document at the same time and act on it at the same time. And as well, the time release studies, we have studied and take record of the time consignment is entering the customs zone, not when the consignment is leaving the country of export. From the time the consignment enter into the customs zone. So as we are talking about trade facilitation, Nigerian Customs Service cannot do it alone without other regulatory agency doing their own mandate as at when is due. So we cannot release consignment if NAFDAC has not cleared the consignment, if SON has not cleared the consignment. So we, Nigerian Customs Service, there is no way we'll clear the consignment. And most of our work there is documentation process. We made sure that an exporter or an importer meet up with all the necessary documentations before clearance. So I think all we need to do is to come together as stakeholders involved in the process of export, import, to see how we can put head together, do the necessary inspection, do the necessary documentation, and allow those marketers and exporters to carry their consignment on time to facilitate the trade. Thank you.
Something in mind. By your law, you are supposed to be the one that leads on joint inspection. And joint inspection is supposed to be, you know, one-time inspection of the cargo by all the agencies. So when you say if customs, if SON doesn't clear, you cannot clear. If NAFDAC doesn't clear, you cannot clear. If you are
when we are trying to see, okay, this consignment should leave the port in less than 24 hours, when other regulatory agencies are not ready to come for the inspection or they are not available at the inspection ground, there is no way custom alone can go ahead with the inspection. We have to wait for all the regulatory agency to be at the inspection bay.
In essence, we need to work more on interagency cooperation.
That is it. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please, SON. SON, I know you are up there when it comes to issue of quality.
This export community to plug into DCTS and AFCFTA. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Boyede. And I thank the organization that invited me. The reason is we're trying to pinpoint exactly the issues so that we can address them. And I'm glad my co-panelist who spoke first talked about all the issues, and then you quietly, and it was actually on my notes, I don't know whether you peeped it and then picked it and said, okay, let me throw it as a question to you. It really, it's not about the big players in this case. I believe we could get there by scaling up the SMEs. In TGI, our philosophy has always been shared prosperity. Like you mentioned, when we go, we don't own any land to farm. When we go to a particular place, in all the value chains we operate, we like to work with the farmers at the grassroots level, who own the land, who control the environment. You could say it's selfish, because then we share the risk. If I have a 10,000 hectare farm to grow something, all the risk is on the company. But if we have 10,000 farmers doing the same 10,000 hectares, there are 10,000 risk sharers. We all share the risk, we all prosper together, and if there is failure, all of us handle it together. So that's it. My feeling is that for too long, we have allowed the SMEs to operate as commodity brokers and dealers. We've not done anything to scale them up, just until Madame started talking about the issue of putting them on the shelf, taking them from being a commodity to a brand. Many people will recall when TGI was involved in fruit juice manufacturing. The biggest players in fruit juice could not beat Chivita in this country until they decided to opt out of the game. Now, I feel today what we need to do is actually to try and work with SMEs who are already involved. Why not have a situation where, like I think Madame Lanre mentioned, have a collective certification and approval that is maybe Nigeria-centric, and then help scale up the production and capacity of all the small players to produce to the standard, and then have one single entity represent Nigeria out there and sell it maybe under a brand name. That brand name could be owned by one single individual, but he has thousands. And I will tell you why this is important. Yesterday I was reading Apple, that makes the iPhone, does it from, I think, 24 different countries, manufactures over 2,000 components from 24 countries. And of all of this, there is no one single producer that does the whole thing. It is at the end of the day, it all comes together as an Apple product, and all of us root for it. Why can't we do the same thing? If somebody is specializing in doing Scotch bonnet peppers, another person would be doing something, another person, and then all of us scale up, specialize, and then come together, and then there would be the big players. And when I say shared prosperity, I mean it with all sense of responsibility. If there is any government incentive, government support, it permeates down, or what economists call trickle down. It will trickle down to the last person. When I buy export commodities, for instance, for those of us who are doing commodity, we have organic sesame. We've gone through all the certification processes. But what happens is, if I am stretching this to the farmer, getting his land certified, putting him through the processes, there is a cost that he has to endure. And because of that, there is also a benefit. That benefit is the premium pricing that he pays. I mean, I pay him because I know also at the end of the day when I export, there is a premium I get. So I have to share that premium with him from the beginning. So these are the things I want to suggest. let us try as much as possible to work with SMEs, scale them up, qualify them to be able to do and meet the standards expected out there in the market. And also, it's not just about agri-commodities. What happened to textile products? What happened to even electronics, for instance? What happened to other things? I mean, Nigerians are all known to be very smart. We can do it. It's just a matter of the scale. So let's do it.
Thank you very much. And please, a round of applause. I will ask for 6 rounds of applause after. But let's go quickly to financing. I think we're limited to another 10 minutes. Pebek, I deliberately left you to round up because some of the things that have been said here are probably input to your next level strategy. Sir, we're talking about market access. You have heard the challenges that they've had. And we had a training program last week. Dr. Ayemibo, on day 1, was talking about, is it the missing middle? And one of those components in the missing middle was actually, the way you put it, it never really occurred to me. When we talk about export financing, the difficulties, we're always talking about difficult access to and high cost of. But nobody looks at it from a consular experience point of view. Every embassy you go to, they want to see that there is a visa in your passport before they will even look at it. Who takes the first step? And from your training that day, you said no bank or most banks are not even going to look at your request for export financing if you do not have a track record of having exported before. But here we are trying to develop exporters from zero knowledge to export. Sterling Bank, please, what are the preparations that you, representing the financial sector, or maybe you are taking home as an input to probably developing a product for Nigerian non-oil exporters? What's your response to the challenge of a Nigerian, not the mega exporters now, the up and coming, the challenges of Ali Saidu needing now, the madam now needing to pay? I experienced the same thing, 50 liters of diesel I bought 2 weeks ago, 51,200. Yesterday I wanted to buy 92,500, the same 50 liters. Now take that to the export place. What will a bank like yours or Nigerian banks be thinking of in order to prepare our exporters to launch into this big market opportunity? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to be here, and I wish to thank MNEM for this platform. And Alhaji, it's nice to meet you again. I met you the first time in Kano during one of our non-oil export campaigns last year. Very interesting question, and because of time, I'm going to go straight to the point. For us as a bank, there are 5 sectors we focus on. We do other things. We call those sectors are, we call those sectors the heart of sterling. So HEART is an acronym for the sectors we focus on. The H there is healthcare, E is education, A is agriculture, R is renewable energy, and T is transportation. Now, if you look at the last 3, agriculture, renewable energy, and transportation, they affect what we are discussing today. So to the extent that we focus on those sectors, it means we want to support the non-oil export space, right? Let me start with the SME. I mean, without SMEs, we are dead as a country because they contribute the most in terms of GDP and employment. Dr. Ayemibo was with us last year in Akure, in Kano, and then in Lagos. on a non-oil export campaign. And that campaign birthed a non-oil export academy. It's not the ones you know about normally, right? We are collaborating with one of the best schools in Africa, the Lagos Business School, the Enterprise Development Center. And the purpose for that platform is to build capacity amongst, not the TGIs of this world or the WACOTs of this world, with due respect, amongst the small players, the SMEs, right? We talked about issues around quality, issues around certification, just knowledge generally about the export space. We did that deliberately as a bank because we know we have gaps there. I'm speaking directly to what we are doing. So the way finance works, finance is timid, right? It doesn't go where there's wahala. It likes to go where, right? So we have an ecosystem view. Why not build capacity? Let these guys understand how it works, such that whatever they go into, largely they will succeed, and the money will come back. Do you understand the thinking? So it's about impact as well. I mean, the first cohort, we are graduating them in April, of about 30 young guys, right? Some of them have not even done export before. Follow my story. So we are not just about those that have done export. We also believe that people, if well capacitized, right? You know, entrepreneurship is about capacity building. Once they know what they're doing, right?
It's a product of capacity. Immediately you
So that's one of the way, one of the ways we view this ecosystem, building capacity, trying to connect some of the dots in the value chain so that people can do export well and is attractive to banks, right, in terms of financing. The other part, and Alaji, we will talk after this. Renewable energy is a key pillar of Sterling Bank, because power for a processor, like Madam, maybe takes about 40–50% of your OPEX. That's why we've decided to focus on not just power, but sustainable power, green, smart, neat power, and I dare say more efficient power. It might not cost you 4 billion. So we have a full group, right, that focuses on this, from power, from audit to the infrastructure to development. That's why I said we will discuss. I'm speaking practically about some of the interventions. For the big guys, we've had to finance gas generators running into millions, but that's not what I'm focusing on now. I'm focusing on the SMEs, right? There are various ways to view this, but the last one, because the moderator is already eyeing me, that time is going. The last one will be around cost of finance. All the issues that have been raised, they are correct. The challenges are enormous. In fact, when I see my clients, right, on a daily basis, still delivering despite all the challenges, it gives me hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel, right? So around cost of funds, we try to collaborate, and it's common knowledge. We try to collaborate with a few development finance institutions locally, Nexim, BOI, to try and average out your cost of funds. Don't forget that we also source for money, right? And that's what's also, all these security issues, the power issues. I have over 100 branches across the country. We power power some of them with diesel and quite a number of them with renewable energy. But we try to partner and collaborate with some of the DFIs to get cheap funding. Just a final example. I know we worked with MasterCard a few years ago. We got about $25 million that we used deliberately to support farmers through anchors at 9%. Yeah? There are a lot of ways to view this, but I will rest my case for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we know he's there. You can see him. I'm not trying to market Sterling. I know that there is a representative of First Bank somewhere there. There is one of Zenith Bank. And of course, Mr. Hopiongo is still there from Nexim. Please feel free to interact with them. Pebek, I'll make life easy for you. I will send an invoice later. Now, everything that has been said here kind of aggregate the challenges. Pebek wants to pride itself as providing solutions to the challenges of doing business in Nigeria. Business is general. Now we are here about export business. You've heard everybody here talk about recommend scaling. You've heard both the big and the micro exporter talk, for example, about certification and the need for a uniform national standard. We have NAQS here, we have SON here, I don't know if NAFDAC is here, we have FPs here. Now, I'm just going to give you an illustration and you can answer based on that. Now, every geographical location in this country has the capacity to produce cassava. It means that Gari can be a national export. If NAFDAC insists on providing NAFDAC number for every Gari enterprise, how many NAFDAC licenses will we have for Gari? On the other hand, if we now have a collaboration between SON, NAFDAC, FQ, NAQS, FPs, plant quarantine service, and whatever it is that agency that has to do with quality, and we now develop this on a yearly basis, and it takes her 6 months to even get the renewal. Pebek, over to you. What will you do, and how do you take this home and bring a solution to us? And we'll round up on that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Apoyede. Good afternoon, everybody. I must tell you from here, it's very nice to be on the spot. As PEBEC, by the way, PEBEC is Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. You that our 90 days BIPA expires on the 26th of April. From May, so to say, you will start seeing some new reforms in that sector. You will see some new things. It is very difficult to manage interest. We all know that it's a Nigerian thing. But then, we all have the understanding now that not all exports have come to stay. And with AFCFTA, the only way to go is forward. Otherwise, Nigeria becomes a dumping ground. So we cannot but work together. And for private sector, we've been working very well. We have a technical working group with NASIMA. Recently, we engaged with WASIMA. And there's something going on. I saw the WASIMA president. There's something going on about enabling MSMEs to women this time around. So PEBEC is poised. We are ready. We are doing what we can, and we hope to do better. But just say you have issues that go unresolved with any agency, just go online. There's www.pebec.gov.ng/reportgov. That's what you should know, reportgov. It's a grievance redress mechanism that even Mr. President has access to. And he has a 72-hour turnaround time. If you have any issue with any agency or even organization or individual, just come online, register your grievance, your concerns. We'll take it up from there.
Thank you very much. And I don't want to annoy our organizers and principals. So I'm just going to, unfortunately, not be able to come back for final words, but to, on behalf of the organizers, thank you all very much for coming to share your knowledge, to thank NEST, and to thank MPNEN, and to let PEBEC also know that MPNEN is at your disposal for the kinds of engagement that you will have subsequently. Thank you all very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, can I ask our panelists to still be seated? Because we've come to the point where we want to take questions, just in case any questions are directed to any of you. I think this conversation is not just, timely. It hits exactly where it needed to hit, address the issues it needed to address, enlightened where it needed to be, to enlighten. So we want to say a very big thank you to the moderator, Mr. Olufemi Boyede, for this panel discussion is themed export readiness versus export reality. The reality, the barriers in practice. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you all of our panelists also for your immense contributions. I would like to first of all appreciate, we have online participants. If the technical team would just quickly, help us put that up on the screen. Let's appreciate our online participants who've been there all day. Please, a round of applause for them. We'll also see if they have questions that they want to answer. For our online participants, if you do, please send the questions to the chat box so that we can read it. I hope the technical team can allow me, know when there's a question from there, but we'll start from here. So if you do have questions, whether from the first session or this one, please let us know. It's now time for, I see somebody, okay, okay. 4 hands already up. I'll start from here, and then the lady, there's a third person there, and the gentleman in blue at the black, wearing at the back. 1, 2, I say third person on that table, okay. And so that's 4. Let's start with those 4. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Very good afternoon, distinguished participants. My name is Augustine C. Onyakwed from NEBSA. During the first section and the second section, we did identify available opportunities for non-oil export competitiveness. And again, we are looking at several structural challenges continue to exist. My question is this: with all the challenges observed, like regulatory and bureaucratic bottlenecks, inadequate trade and logistic infrastructure, limited awareness to international trade agreements, export financing constraints for SMEs, poor compliance with international qualities and standards, weak interagency coordination among trade-related institutions, high cost of export, port congestions, double charges in ports, undocumented charges, and what have you. My question goes to PEBEC. PEBEC was established with a view to streamlining ease of doing business. What are your success stories as to issues emanating from these challenges, especially to non-oil exporters? Do you have a framework that you use to gauge your performance? Like somebody have observed a consign and he goes to the chat box and mail you. How many hours, days does it take to address this consign? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please go ahead and answer.
Thank you very much for the question, sir. He mentioned that for the report gov, it takes a maximum of 72 working hours to get a response, which is most times a resolution. But there's a gap. Let me give you an instance. In running data, most times it is not just about the frequency of the reportage. It is about the correctness of what you are reporting. I will use CAC as an example. You have applied for a business name registration it's done online, which is one of the PEBEC initiatives anyway. And then you are expected to submit your NIN, your passport photograph, all those details. And you did not. And then after waiting 48 hours, you didn't get your business name. You come on Report Gov to report it. You have not done your own part. You've not played your own role adequately. And most times, people just borrow an email. I use borrow intentionally. People borrow an email to do this online registration, online submissions. They don't have access to the email. So the message is there waiting endlessly, and they don't get a response. That is a major thing. I just mentioned to my co-panelists here that there's a need to recreate awareness. People think they are aware, but so much is happening so fast that there's a gap in awareness. So maybe government would need to do a bit more, but as a people too, let's try to get adequate information.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving forward from here, we're going to try to take all of the questions at the same time and then direct the questions to those who need to answer on the panel. So we'll allow the questions to be asked. But before we come back to those in the hall here with us, we have a question online I would like to read. This is from CI, I'm not sure, CFO's iPhone. And the person is asking, please, why do we not have a single window for solving problems for SMEs instead of having all of these agencies that most SMEs are not able to access? So this Mrs. Chinwe Ezenwa, CEO Leluk, is asking. Let's have that question noted. Yes, please. Your question?
Thank you very much. I'm Elo Maisie. I represent Pleroma Foods. For this program we just heard, this policy roundtable, I would suggest that we go with one particular project we can work on, like what Mr. Boyede suggested. Like when I came into processing, 2022, I discovered that many people were just duplicating, they were just copying themselves. So if we can have a project where we can assign a particular product to a region, like a hub. So even just like what Mr. Boyede said, the certification, the finance, the equipment be bought for that particular product. I do a lot of research, and that's why I try on product development. And get people to research product for that particular region. So we have researchers, we have trainers that we train them on how to produce the product, in maybe like 4 or 5 regions, and give it a certification that is recognized internationally, and also be able to find out if they can fly around the world in the supermarkets. That's where the researchers come in. And we like that because a lot of people, all of us are having different dehydrators. And if you ask some, they've not even used it for years. It's just there. Nothing is happening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. All right.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Dr. Blessing Eraboza, President, Organization of Women in International Trade. My question goes to still the first set. At times I find it, I don't want to use the word laughable, but it's very bad that we see our regulators from different agencies sit to talk about trade and exports. But the truth is that they don't even know which product qualifies for the current AFCFTA. There was a whole lot of mistake with the first one. SMEs were left at their own mercy, which is very bad. So if government body is going to talk, they have to go back first. They need to understand the trade space. You cannot give what you don't have. That's number one. And then I'm going to talk about the custom. I heard the custom lady, it was so bad because they're telling us that they have this coordination that when an exporter is bringing product or you want to export, that they might be ready, NAFDAC might not be ready. That is a problem for the SME at the beginning because as far as those products are still there, the costs are piling up. It is not a good way. I work with women, and Madam Elizabeth is one of our vice presidents in our organization. We have spoken to different entities. The list goes on, but what am I appealing here today? We've not come for fault finding. Just as Mr. Boye, they have said, and also Alaba, we need to go back to the drawing board. Government officials, you need to sit with the private sector. The private sector can easily tell you where there are challenges. Don't develop a problem that you don't know and you dump it on top of us and that you are solving problem. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. A lot of people want to ask questions, so I crave your indulgence. Let's keep it brief and direct. All right, please keep it brief and direct, and so that.
My name is Benjamin Aduli. I run an organization called Mice Trade. Just to get the context of the question I'm going to ask, I have spent 21 years of my life building this organization to be export ready, and we are not ready yet. Now, what I'm offering you is a solution. And by the way, the solution I'm offering you, I'm not asking you to finance it. I can finance it. But it's useless if I invest in it. I don't have government buy-in because the export will not work. Now, this is my solution. What we need in Nigeria for SME export is what I call the Nigerian SME export corridor. I repeat, what we need is the Nigerian SME export corridor, where SME exports in Nigeria is incubated, processed, and is ready for export. A value chain, controlled. But without government buy-in, it's useless. So my question to this audience is, how do I get a government buy-in? Please, I am not looking for government money. I can fund it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's the third question or response we've had. Okay. I think this man raised his hand just before we started the question, so I'll come to you, sir.
My name is Peter Asekame from National Quality Council. PBEC, the awareness for your report/gov website, I believe it should be out there. Maybe National Orientation Agency should be announcing things like that, so that it's not a forum like this that only a limited number of persons come, that we hear that you can actually report a government agency for non-performance or performance. And then for custom, I believe all agencies are domiciled in one particular place for clearance. So if someone is not ready when custom is ready, or NAFDAC is not ready, how does that really work when all of them should be domiciled in a particular place, like a workstation, where clearing of goods or from foreign countries is done on the spot, rather than allow it, especially when it is perishable items. And then that's why you see some products, there is short shelf life. And when it stays in custom for too long, by the time it's getting into the superstores, the expiration date is already there because of the time frame it took for the clearance to be done.
All right, we'll add 2 more questions and we'll have our panelists respond after that. And then we'll see. Technical crew, can we take questions from those online now? Please let me know as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you so much. This question is being directed to the PBEC representative. Sorry. When you started, you talked about overlaps and how you'll be able to resolve some of these issues. I'm from the Federal Produce Inspection Service, and I'm aware that recently you were trying to make inquiry into some of our functions. I think from the get-go, we have to look at what were the laws that established some of these organizations. Like for FPIS, we've been around since 1954. And of course, the mandate was given to us to carry out fumigation, which is one of the issues we are trying to resolve. So recently, we started seeing issues regarding fumigation. And you know, some of these organizations who are, that is trying to carry out fumigation. The thing is, during their establishment, probably there wasn't anything like a wide consultation or public hearing to understand the legal framework backing some of these organizations that have been carrying out these processes long before now. So I want to say that from your inquiry, part of the recommendation should be channeled towards those laws that establish some of these organizations so that we can know which organization is supposed to do this or that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. One more question, and then we'll have our panelists.
All right, the first question is to Nexim Bank. Don't know if Mr. Opiongo is still around. Okay, still around. Okay, recently we had a number of exporters who have to queue up. They've applied for facility from Nexim Bank, they have to queue up. And sometimes when we call the office in Lagos, they will say they are waiting for some other people to pay for Nexim to be able to have enough funds to be able to, because those people, it's been approved for it. So is there anything being done to recapitalize Nexim just the way we've done for BOA? Because BOA, I understand they are getting about 1 trillion or something. And I think we need that for export, not grant, the one that CBN will give you and withdraw. Your own money yourself. Yes. Number two, I'm happy you mentioned export credit insurance. I think one of the biggest challenges we've had in market access is that people are afraid to enter some markets. Some people are shipping to Ukraine right now in spite of the war. People are shipping to Israel. When that war finished, they are the one that won that market because they are able to enter that market because of that. So I want to know more about that. But the last one is on the, okay, yes, the person that talked about export readiness. Maybe you should talk to, where's the man that was saying he's not been ready for many years? I would recommend you see our Secretary General of MPNEM. I'm sure we can assist you to become export ready while you're working for government. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. We'll take responses to these questions. I believe that our panelists have taken note of the questions that are directed at them, and then they can respond, and then we'll go to the next batch of questions. I know there's still people in the room who want to ask questions, and possibly those also online who might want to ask questions. Please raise your hands up, and then we will provide the sound so that people can hear you ask your question. Over to you on the panel. Yes, go ahead, Pibek. A lot of questions were directed to you. Please go ahead and answer.
Okay, the first one was actually more of a recommendation, and it is duly noted. The first question here is about awareness of Report.gov. Currently, PEBEC works with, we collaborate with 69 MDAs, and maybe 95% of them have the Report.gov logo and link URL on their websites. When you open the website, the top right-hand corner, you see Report.gov, report.gov.ng, that's the name, you see it there. We have our QR codes at all international airports. We have it at the Enugu airport. We have it in Kano. We have all international airports and some domestic airports. And we are still building. Mind you, PEBEC is just a small office. So we will get there. We are trying to do so much. And then as per overlaps, FPs, this has been the approach. No single individual or organization can just sit down and change the mandates or the laws that established any organization. And that is why it is taking time. I mentioned the RIF, the Regulatory Impact Assessment, earlier. It is about consultation. Even new reforms cannot be introduced unless adequate stakeholder engagement is done. So we are aware of this. We know most of these challenges, if not all, and then we are towing your route. So be rest assured, it may take a bit of time, but we will arrive at our destination. Thank you. If I missed any question, please call my attention. I don't think so.
There was one. Someone asked that why not, take this new policies through NOA so that people can be better informed rather than just talking about it in a small forum such as this one.
That's the one on Report.gov. I've answered.
Actually, I was going to provide a kind of umbrella answer to the there was another, I think it was an online question that talked about why it is not possible to have everything about export on one platform. Yes. Yep. The whole idea of engagement, consultation, continuous improvement is for us to, I think somewhere in my Bible, it talks about in the multitude of counsel, and then wisdom begins to grow. I think that Nigeria will get there. I'm not too sure whether it will be in my lifetime, but I do think that Nigeria will get there. Singapore, as far back as about 18 years ago, Singapore had only one agency or one vehicle where you do all investment registration and processing, just one. You fill the form in Stada, I think that's the name. That was the name in my time. And if you need to invest in industry, it is Stada that processes, and you would need to invest in agriculture or whatever, that single form. And in 48 hours, they engage with every other agency that you want to. Now, I am not saying that that is the duty of PEBEC. But if we are talking about, to borrow from customs vocabulary, single window, what is import here is export somewhere. It's two sides of a coin. So if you do have a single window for import, it means that that same window can also be single for export on the flip side. So are Nigerian agencies going to go the way of a unified roadmap where there is this interagency collaboration? I don't know if NIPC is still continuing with the OSIC, One-Stop Investment Center, where all agencies you find in one location. Is it part of a potential project proposal to a Federal Ministry of Industry, part of the recommendations of this consultation today? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Oh, thank you. All right, we have someone here who has a question. I'll come back to you. Sorry? Yes, just a moment.
Permission to ask for you to please give a round of applause to one of my moderators who has to leave for an urgent assignment somewhere. Thank you, ma.
Yes, please, your question.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I believe whomever that is in this room and who has decided to be from 10:30 till this time to stay back and listen to this engaging section should not be worried about leaving early without your questions being answered. So whatever time you have spent here is quite an input, and I know you have gained so much knowledge, just as I have. Now, my first question is on finance, and then the second is on the regulatory bodies, and then the third is on how we can bridge the gap, and then my suggestion, that's it. And then the first is financing, because I work with a financial institution, Zenith Bank, Nigeria Limited, PLC. And for financing, we have SMEs saying, oh, we need money, we need financing from banks. Now, that's not an issue. We are talking about, are these exporters ready to access this financial aid from the banks? Now, we bank with people's money. So if we're giving you that money, there is something called shared risk. And no matter how much you think about it, it's institutions. But you don't see people questioning for that. But when it comes to financial institutions, you see that problem coming when a bank asks you for collateral, and it becomes a problem. So why is it a problem? Why don't you take it up with the government when they ask you for bid securities and APGs? But when it's the bank, it becomes a problem because you feel some sense of attachment with the bank's money and not with the government's money. Now, my second question is, if you want to do exports, please have your collaterals because it's going to be a shared risk. Thank you. And then Nexim talked about factoring. Factoring, I really like that fact of factoring because
SMEs that have proposals or startups that have proposals, then let us fund them directly. Government has put a lot of money. I just said 3 trillion here. Let us identify that the bank should only use it as a channel. After all, I said it when I was standing there. the banks only loan to formal businesses. What you are dealing with is about 15% or 20% of the capacity you have. Why don't we put money on formalizing the MSMEs and then also addressing their needs directly, not going through commercial funding? That's what I think. I thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think now we can have your response. We can have your response.
I've taken permission from Sterling to make comments before he comes on. I will beg your indulgence that we should do products, bank, and possibly the agency and the DFID, so that we look at the dynamics of a particular product line from A to Z and know the kind of finance that will be suitable for that product. I know of a particular one that DIZ has been doing on cassava. So they will bring in the stakeholders, bring in the bank, and see them together. Because when you do primary production, it takes about 12 months beyond. There is a fund that has been trapped for that 12 months. Then goes to the processor, who takes care of that gap. So there is a lot of things. We cannot just give it a blanket umbrella. It's better for us to have product by product conversation and not just do a lip service at the end of the day. So that both you and we and bank, we all have responsibility to play in this matter. So.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. I think the ECOWAS, I think DG or so, and then Madam, they've helped me a bit with my response. My colleague, I call her my colleague because we're in the same industry, spoke well earlier, but I just wanted to mention that the conversation we are having right now is about trade, is about commodities, is about exports. So the way you view it as a bank, the structure you put in place has to be non-traditional, which is what he was speaking about, right? The last data I saw, depending on the literature you are reading, we have close to 40 million MSMEs in the country. These are small businesses scattered all over. It's difficult. If your model is collateral based, you won't do business with them, right? That is why what she said, and is what we've done, right? I talked about MasterCard earlier. I have a customer today who deals with about 10,000 farmers, right? We got funding from a DFI. It's an anchor-led kind of structure. Those monies don't go directly to the farmers, but they get input from the anchor to be able to develop their farmlands. When they produce, those products are off-taken by the anchor. So you really do not need any form of collateral that these guys don't have, by the way, right? So the point I'm making is that it's about structuring, because it's trade. You structure it end to end. There are some that might require some form of collateral. If I'm dealing with TGI, for example, that has built capital, a capital base over time, I will ask for something. But for these MSMEs and SMEs, and I'm talking practically, we have quite a number of product papers that are bespoke, depending on the products you are dealing in, depending on the market you are playing in, depending on the life cycle of the business. So those things do exist. But I want to reemphasize that we need to do more. We need to collaborate more as banks. Thank you.
Okay. Mine is not actually, there was no any question directed at me, but the fact of the matter is, from the conversation from the various public sector agencies here, I think the information dissemination system is lacking. And that is one thing we need to improve on. Hearing NEPC saying this, hearing Customs saying this, hearing Shippers Council. And importantly, we should change our mindset whenever we're in a gathering like this to the fact that this is a non-oil export platform, but a lot of the conversations are going towards import. So please, I think it's just an appeal on these two things. When we come, let us understand the perspective and then let us address it, because a lot of things were missing. And I'm happy Mr. Boyede said that, look, it's the other side of the coin. Then importantly, the first thing I said, information dissemination. I think from all of the agencies I listened to, I think they are not communicating. Thank you very much.
Thank you, panelists. It's back to you so that you can, thank your panelists. And then we can invite the president and the executive secretary, Mrs. Titi Ojo, for a picture before we allow the panelists go. And then Mrs. Titi Ojo will stay back and give us a closing remark with some announcements. And then we can go for lunch. I think we can agree that it's been a fruitful discussion today. Over to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for your patience and attention. Just a final reminder that this session has been actually probably an audit. It's been a self-assessment of the realities of export versus the activities that are, what do you call it, aggregated as export readiness. So, and we are living here with the conclusion that export readiness might actually be theoretical when you put it side by side with export performance or export sector based on the realities in the field. I want to thank you all very much for sharing your experiences, some of them bitter, but of course, we're all looking forward to a better Nigeria. Thank you all very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. Olufemi Boyede and his panel. A big thank you. Thank you so very much.
To have a photograph, everyone. Yeah, let's see how that goes. Yes. So yes, some will be down. Photographers. Let's see how that works. And while we're at it, we're going to have a tour of the facility. It's important. I think we want you to look to see what's going on here. Eniola, can I have my phone so I could? Can you flash Sherry on my phone? We're almost ready for the tour. For the tour, yes. So do you want to have the photos in groups? Okay, so how do you, MC, do you want to call the groups? Okay, so let's do the public sector organizations. Can we have public sector first? Let's see. Okay, so we can just keep taking it that way. Okay, so when you're done, you just sit down. MC.
Okay, after this, so that the picture places, it's not too tight. Yes, some people can still go up. Okay. All right, so if you weren't part of this last picture, please feel free to join the next one. After that, I'd like Empnem and Nest, representative of Nest, who was still here with Empnem alone. Like Titi said, after this, we will take a facility tour of the AATC. That's where we are right now. If you haven't taken any photos, please come forward. After the group photos, we'll have Empnem and Nest. You're all invited for photos, please. Feel free to join. I'm not sure why this table doesn't want to join. You don't want to be in the pictures. Eh? Come and take pictures now. All right, if you haven't had any pictures, please join us down here. Well, everybody that is interested.
Annabelle is there.
Where's Annabelle? Okay.
There's one Daniela running down. She's running like at the speed of light.
Run. Come this way, come this way. There's space here.
Here. No, here, this way.
Okay.
No women inclusion.
It's okay now. No, thank you. We're okay now. All right, thank you. I'd like members, President, Executive Secretary, First Vice President of EPNEM and Board of Trustee members with Nest. Could you please? Yes. Sir, could you come this way? Yes, sir, Dr. Alaba. Oh, okay. You can stay down here. Yes. All right, I think that's all the photos for now. Well, if you want any extra photo, you will pay for it. You'll pay for it. All right, over to you.
Okay, Sharifat, are you here? Okay, come on, come over. On behalf of MPNN, we want to thank everyone that showed up today. This has been amazing.
Don't forget to tell them they can still do the interactive board.
Okay, so quick things, we are finishing. Outside, you have some interactive boards where you have some questions being asked. Right on the interactive board. It tells us what goes on in your mind about those questions. So please, everyone here, write on interactive boards outside. It's a question you have to answer, right? And we're going to collate your responses. I want to thank everyone that showed up, both from the public, private sectors. This has been amazing. From having almost nobody at 9 a.m. in this room to having over 100 people, that is mind-blowing. Yes! I want to appreciate everyone that showed up. It was a good crisis. This was a good crisis. And I'm glad that we deeply appreciate these conversations this morning. We want to have, and yes, we're happy that the AATC is hosting us. AATC is worthy of seeing the facility, I'm telling you. It's a 7-star platinum. I've been around this place before. And I think anytime anyone comes in, you should have a feel of what goes on in here. And that's why we have included the tour of the facility. It will be very brief, right? And then we can do lunch. On this note, I want to say thank you once again to all the team members, to NEST, FCDO. We love you, we love you, we love you. You made this happen, truly. Thank you so much. To every member of the committee that worked on this, we deeply appreciate you. What we're looking forward to really beyond this is more collaborations. Nexim had a conversation with me just now, and yes, it's more collaborations, truly. MPNN is here to push your mandate in the area of evidence-based advocacy and evidence-based capacity building. We are the right people to speak to, trust me. And we're going to send an email to every one of you anyway after now. So thank you very much. Let's hand over to AATC. Please, let's listen. Because they're going to see the facility, it's good to have a little intro to what you're about to see, right?
All right, I know we're coming to the end, but can we please have your attention? Ladies and gentlemen, can I crave your indulgence for just 1 minute of your attention before we take a tour of the building? Ladies and gentlemen, please indulge us. Indulge us, indulge us. 1 more minute and that's it. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm here to represent Afreximbank African Trade Center, and I'm here with my colleague, Onyinye Amonu, and we're going to be going for a tour. The tour is not just for tour, it's a tour that is going to give you what it is, a futuristic building that you are a panache, a place that has integrated services, and where you'll be looking at trade facilitation to trade financing, and of course, exports promotion. And you'll be having your tour guide as Onyinye, so she will just tell you step by step of how we'll go through it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and once again, welcome to Afreximbank. Good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to Afreximbank African Trade Center. This is more than just a building. It houses more than just this conference hall. This facility is here to bridge the information gap in the trade ecosystem. And we're going to take you on a tour to show you the facilities that are here, the Trade Intelligence Center, the SME Incubation Hub, which we have here in this building, to give you more insights on the initiatives provided by Afreximbank to bridge the information gap in the trade ecosystem. So we look forward to an amazing tour. Thank you.
Let's go from there. We are leaving from outside there. Yes, let's just start. Once we are done with the tour, you have the meal ticket. Your lunch ticket is with Emmanuel, right? Emmanuel, so he's going to give us a lunch ticket. And there's a restaurant upstairs. It's also a very lovely place to have lunch. So don't miss lunch, please. Let's go.